That's what happened last week to Samford. They're way ahead in the game, the last two games, 24-10, 24-7, I think, and, came back and won both of those games. So this is a challenge for us and our players, and certainly look forward to it. We respect every team that we play, and certainly technically have to look at what they do and make sure we're going to be sound against it. And I think it'll be a team effort, whether it's special teams, offense, defense, with the focus on, great execution.
Coach, we'll start on the right with Ben.
After looking at the film, what did you think about how the offensive line played against Mississippi State?
Look, I don't want to really call out the offensive line. I don't think that as an offense, we did the little things that you need to do against a good team, whether it was technique-oriented. We made some mental errors in the game that were very costly. We didn't finish blocks at times where we could have had, maybe a little more explosive plays. But I think, as I said before, when you play against good players, those things become really, really important. So I think as an offensive team, we all need to do a little better job, whether it's picking up a blitz, throwing the ball hot, getting the protection right, blocking the guy coming off the edge. I mean, there's a lot of things that go to it. The one thing we did do very well at the end of the game was take more than 6 minutes off in 4 minutes so they didn't get the ball back, and that was really good. Even though we didn't score, we accomplished what we wanted to accomplish.
Coach, back to Cecil.
Thank you, Coach. When you line up for practice today, what will you be looking for from the quarterbacks? Who's available? How available are they? What's the situation there, please?
Well, Jalen's day to day, and he's definitely getting better. Tua's, okay. He's going to be able to practice, so that's not an issue. Mac is getting a lot of reps, so I think he's getting better. So, whatever the guys can do, we're going to have them do and get as many reps for them as we can. As a coach, it's a little difficult sometimes to manage guys that are injured because regardless of what the medical circumstance is, the player has to be confident that he can do what he can do to go out there and do his job well. So, and that's something that we can only evaluate as we go through the week of practice.
Coach, we'll stay in the middle here with Michael.
Where have you seen the biggest improvement so far this season on defense?
Well, I think the entire group has improved. I think, first of all, we're making a lot fewer mental errors. I think we've simplified things a little bit, which has helped their players develop some confidence in what they're doing. We're playing better up front. The linebackers are playing better. I think we're playing a little better in the secondary. So I don't think it's one specific thing. I think it's a combination of a lot of things that have created better execution on a more consistent basis. So keep working on tackling and try to get turnovers. And, when we had issues in the last game, we made a couple mistakes in the secondary. We got lucky in the red zone. When they got to delay a game, and we had some missed tackles on the long run. So we need to continue to focus on, those types of things.
We'll stay in the middle here with Alex.
Nick, just given the amount of hits that Tua has been taking recently, is there any consideration at all this week to whether you said you didn't want to limit reps at practice, but limit snaps or in the game? Is there any consideration to limiting some of that?
No. No, why would we do that? Say this was not an important game or he doesn't need to play or... I think we need to do a better job of the people playing around him, doing what they're supposed to do so he doesn't get hit. And he needs to do a better job of stepping up in the pocket and getting rid of the ball, which he had several opportunities to do. So, some of these hits can be avoided just by better execution. And I think that's what we're going to focus on, not trying to take a guy out of the game so he can't improve or do what he needs to do to get better, or we need to do what we need to do to get better as a team and develop some confidence in each other.
A couple more. Back to Tony and then Ben.
How difficult is this offense to prepare for, especially just on a week?
Well, I think it's very challenging because it's obviously different from anything that we see. We did spend some time in fall camp. We did spend some time during the bye week trying to, get our players to have a little better understanding of what they need to do and how we, need to play it. But I think that they do it every week. A couple things. It's hard to get a good look in practice because the people that are trying to do it for you, they don't ever do it. And it's hard to get the reaction and the speed of the game, whether it's how fast the dive hits or how fast the ball gets on the perimeter or how they block their plays and get effective looks at that. So it's not only difficult from a defensive standpoint, it's difficult for the defensive players to get the look that they're going to see from a speed standpoint, when the game comes.
Two more, I missed one, Mark, and then
We saw you recognize the entire front with the defensive line. Just how good has that group been in terms of affecting the quarterback without you having to send extra blitzers?
I think they've done a good job this year, and I think that's helped us play a little bit better. We thought that those guys were all capable of being very productive this year, and in the last few weeks they certainly haven't disappointed us, and hopefully they'll keep on improving so that everybody on our team can focus on what they need to do to be their best version of a player, because we'll certainly need that down the road.
we'll wrap up here with a follow-up from Ben.
Particularly earlier this year when some of the starters were able to rest later in games, there was some discussion about how fresh some of those guys might be further down the road. At this point, kind of looking at nicks and bruises, are you all fresher than you might be this time of year, or are you still kind of banged up?
Well, I think everybody's kind of banged up right now. We've had two very physical games in a row. I think the key to the drill is don't focus on how you feel, but choose to do the things you need to do to improve and get better and get well prepared for the game and play well in the next challenge. So, but we're not going to take the approach in any game that we play that we're not going to play players and take guys out and do all this and play somebody else and assume that the opponent that we're playing is not capable of being very competitive. That can be your mindset. That's not my mindset. That's not our mindset. That's not going to be the mindset of our players. So, and I'm not really interested in any of your suggestions about how we should manage our team and what we should do to try to get better, regardless of what you think, just because we're playing the Citadel.